The mountain. Welcome to our 1 week of the Mountain of Influence. Today, we are starting by discussing the mountain of education. And by the time I'm done, you have an understanding why this mountain, by mountain, we're really talking about a sphere and a system, why this mountain needs to be dominated, particularly by you, okay, as a believer. So now, your presenter is yours truly, Apostle Frederick Kaluluma. I'm sure you didn't see those things yesterday, but today, because it's education, I have to add one or two of those. So that's Apostle Frederick Kaluluma, Master's Development Studies, Bachelor of Arts Development Studies, Bachelor of Arts in Divinity, Diploma in Divinity, and then I'm currently studying a Master of Science in Counseling and a doctorate in Development Studies and a doctorate in Theology, of which I'm making good progress in most of them. So, that was my wife's graduation for her master's in Human Resource Management. We study a lot in this house. It's one of the rules. So, but the little one, she's already studying. So then, yeah. So let's define education. Education is an area that I honestly have a lot of passion in. And I'm really, really hoping that I'm really, really hoping that by the time we're done today, it's an area that you also will have a lot of passion in. Okay, so, and I'm seeing some, yeah, guys, sometimes make yourself feel good, eh? Like put what you studied at the end of your, or you can write aspiring doctor or this, but put like a something at the end for today, for this part of the lesson. Let's try and do that. Okay. Uh-huh. If you've studied the streets, just say, doctor in the streets, like I can handle the streets. So that's me, your presenter. So now, education can be defined as the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition, the impartation of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. And usually, when we think of education, we are usually thinking of um, 1 + 1 = 2. But what a lot of us don't realize is education plays a huge role in the impartation of values, beliefs, and habits. As a matter of fact, I think educators are not as appreciated as they should be. I was talking to my wife earlier today. We're having, usual discussions that normal husbands and wives have, right? We're discussing development in Zambia. And my wife happens to work currently as the district planning officer for in the Ministry of Education in Osaka. So she was telling me that as it stands, there's a shortage of primary school teachers. There's a shortage of primary school teachers. And you know what? I sat and thought about it. And I really think we're not appreciating teachers enough. Not just appreciating in terms of words, but appreciating in terms of money and other things. As it stands, my daughter is in middle class B. There are a lot of things that my wife and I have taught her, but I cannot deny that there are a lot of things that her teacher at school has taught her. I really, I would be lying if I said otherwise. There are certain things that she'll come to me. I remember the other time I was trying to, I don't know what I was doing. Being a dad, it was morning. I was about to take her to school and I offered her a sweet. And she looked at me and said, teacher said no sweets in class. I can only have it after school. I was like, whoa. So what people don't realize is there is a way people see their teachers. There's a way people see their teachers. Right now, I am more educated than probably the majority of people who taught me from um, baby class to grade 12. Um, I'm probably more educated in terms of the qualifications I have, but there's a way I see them. If I'm to meet them today, I'll still call them sir. The other time I was invited by my primary school to go and give a talk. And for me, I was still seeing the teacher as, oh my, because the one who invited me, who I think currently is a head teacher, I was driving and he stopped me on the road and said, "Oh wow, it's you. You know, you really need to come." And in my head, I still see him a certain way. So what people don't actually realize is teachers play a huge role. Teachers are not just teaching 1+2; they are role models. People spend more time with their teachers, sometimes even than with their parents. So it's an area that we actually have to look at as believers. And perhaps we also need to advocate for it to be a bit more rewarding so that we can have more people in teaching. We actually need more teachers, if you had to ask me. We need more teachers. But maybe there's a reason they are not very motivated. What do you think are some of the reasons? Um, like why are a number of teachers not motivated, or why are people not? Why is the average person not saying they want to be a teacher? What do you think? Type in the chat. So education frequently takes place under the guidance of educators, um, or may take the role of teachers, instructors, or tutors. It can be formal, okay? That's like organized with a curriculum and a certification. It can be informal, like outside the school setting, like the person who taught you um, how to dress and all that kind of stuff. It can be non-formal, like something that's loosely organized, like mentorship programs, or some are semi-formal, really, like certain mentorship programs, or the you know programs on maybe how to be a woman or ABCD. Now, education is a super agent of socialization. Socialization is really how people are introduced to the world around them, how they relate with the world, how they are introduced to it. And it has that power to shape someone's worldview. I want you to think about some of the stuff you learned in primary and secondary, and how you find that for some of the stuff that you learned, some people here can literally argue with stuff they've never proven because your teacher taught it to you. You know, um, the world has been designed in such a way that people spend most of their time being educated rather than being at home. I want you to think of the first 17, 18 years of your life. Where did you spend most of your time? Where did you actually spend most of your time? Where did you spend most of your week? As a matter of fact, the government can have a case with your parents if they are denying you the right to go to school. That's literally where people spend most of their time. Why do you think school is a jungle for some people, right? And then afterwards, depending on what area of life they're in, they practically spend the rest of their years practicing education rather than being at home. So either through a job or through a craft or anything, your life literally borders around how you are educated in so many areas. It borders around how you're educated. And even if you decide to just be at home, you'll be doing homework. So your life borders around, it borders a lot around how you are educated, right? And then let's go on. I want you to understand that biblically educated people helped a lot with the Bible. Firstly, Paul was educated and he wrote literally half the New Testament. Moses was educated in the ways of the Egyptians, and God used him to go and rescue the people from the Egyptians. So he was educated in the ways of the Egyptians. A lot of people who translated the Bible for us to be able to have a hold of it were educated. By the way, there are also a number of people God used who were not formally educated, but I'm also just showing you that educated people played a particular role. Okay. Now, what is involved in education? There's knowledge, like sciences, concepts, ideas, facts, theories. For example, the law of gravity, Newton's first law, second law, third law, all that kind of stuff. What else is involved in education? Skills like cooking, designing, driving, accounting, legal practice,